رائحة الجد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء، فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب الحوز، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. سيدنا محمد وآل محمد. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا، السلام عليك يا من اختار الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال السلام عليك يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسير وخليفتي وصاحب اللواء، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ وقال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم أن هؤلاء أهل البيت وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمه لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن صالحهم وعدو لمن آلاهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
وقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال أمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
قال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. يقول السلام عليك يا رسول الله، يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مدية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين جبرائيل وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي النبي يا رسول الله أخرجني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إنا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم ملائكته واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا ولى فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. وقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستسعني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Next we have the first of our two salams for the lecture. The first which will be by Brother Tamsil Abbas, who's here representing Jafri Ayub. Working with the Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
محمد وآل محمد بلند الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إلهي كيف أدعوك وأنا وكيف أقطع رجائي منك وأنت إلهي إذا لم أسألك فتعطيني فمن ذا الذي أسأله فيعطيني إلهي إذا لم أدعوك فتستجيب لي فمن ذا الذي أدعوه فيستجيب لي إلهي إذا لم أتزره إليك فتلزمني فمن ذا الذي يتزرع إليه فيرحمني إلهي فكما فلكت البحر لموسى عليه السلام وأنجيته وأسألك أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد صلوات وأن تنجيني مما أنا فيه وتفرج عني فرجا عجلا وعين عجل بفضلك ورحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين صلوات a kind request, because our Arsenal normally need to come a few steps forward, please. Please recite aloud salawat as you come forward. Nare Takbir, Nare Takbir, Nare Risalat, Nare Risalat, Nare Haidari, Nare Haidari, By Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. نظر سے دیکھا آئیگا نظر حسین ایک ہے نظر حسین ایک ہے نظر سے دیکھا آئیگا نظر حسین ایک ہے نظر حسین ایک ہے صدا کھلا ہے جس کا در مگر حسین ایک ہے مگر حسین ایک ہے نظر سے دیکھ آئے گا نظر حسین ایک ہے میرا حسین ایک ہے محمد میں چار ہیں علی بھی میں چار ہیں محمد میں چار ہیں علی بھی میں چار ہیں حسن بھی میں کا بنے جو دین کا وقار ہے حسن بھی میں کا بنے جو دین کا وقار ہے یہ بار بار سب بنے مگر حسین ایک ہے مگر حسین ایک ہے نظر سے دیکھ آئے گا نظر حسین ایک ہے خدا کا اور حسین کا بس ایک سا مزاج ہے خدا کا اور حسین کا بس ایک سا مزاج ہے زمین و آسمان پر انہیں کا صرف راج ہے زمین و آسمان پر صرف راج ہے، ادھر خدا بھی ایک ہے، ادھر حسین ایک ہے، ادھر حسین ایک ہے، نظر سے دیکھ آئے گا، نظر حسین ایک ہے. سلام. برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، بتلاؤ مسلمانوں یہ کس کا نواسا ہے، بتلاؤ مسلمانوں یہ کس کا نواسا ہے، اعلان کرو ماتم آنکھوں کو بند کر کے، اعلان کرو ماتم آنکھوں کو بند کر کے، لپٹی ہوئی میت سے یہ فاطمہ زہرا ہے، لپٹی ہوئی میت سے یہ فاطمہ زہرا ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، حسنین تیرے غم میں جو آنسو بہائے گا، حسنین تیرے غم میں جو آنسو بہائے گا، جائے گا وہ جنت میں، زہرا کا یہ وعدہ ہے، جائے گا وہ جنت میں، زہرا کا یہ وعدہ ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے، اے کلم بتا تیرے کیوں آنسو نکل آئے، اے کلم بتا تیرے کیوں آنسو نکل آئے، کیا تم نے یتیموں میں قاسم کو یہ دیکھا ہے، کیا تم نے یتیموں میں قاسم کو بھی دیکھا ہے، برسات میں تیروں کی یہ کس کا جنازہ ہے.
The final recital we have before we call our speaker, Amir Raza, to speak and recite on behalf of Right of Knowledge. If you could welcome him with the Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
یہ جتن شاد کرے دکھائی دیتے ہیں، یہ جتن شاد
دکھائی دیتے ہیں، سبھی حسین کے نوکر، سبھی حسین کے نوکر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، یہ جتنے شاہ تونگر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، پکارتی ہے سخاوت وہ در حسین کا ہے، پکارتی ہے سخاوت وہ در حسین کا ہے، جہاں فقیر قلندر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، اور کہیں زمین پہ فرشتے نظر نہیں آتے، کہیں زمین پہ فرشتے نظر نہیں آتے، مگر حسین کے در پہ دکھائی دیتے ہیں۔ زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، 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 سجاد کو ضعیف صدائیں یہ کر گئی، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی، لاشوں کو رسیوں میں جکر کے لیے پھرو، لاشوں کو رسیوں میں جکر کے لیے پھرو، سیلانیاں تو پھر سے نکلتے ہی مر گئی، سیلانیاں تو پھر سے نکلتے ہی مر گئی، جاتی تھی جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پہ، جاتی تھی جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پہ، جانے خدا وجود سے کیسے گزر گئی، جانے خدا وجود سے کیسے گزر گئی، گودوں سے رات شام میں گر کے مر گئے، گودوں سے رات شام مر گئی بچوں کی لاش دیکھ کے مائیں بھی مر گئی ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھی جب چلی ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھی جب چلی سب گلشن بطول کی کلیاں بکھر گئی سب گلشن بطول کی کلیاں بکھر گئی رب لائے پوچھتی تھی سکینہ سے قید میں رب لائے پوچھتی تھی سکینہ سے قید میں زخمی ہے کاذبہ لیا بی بی کدھر گئی زخمی ہے کاذبہ لیا بی بی کدھر گئی بازار لے کے جانا بے پردہ ظالموں بازار لے کے جانا بے پردہ ظالموں مر جائے گی حسین کی بہنیں اگر گئی مر جائے گی حسین کی بہنیں اگر گئی انگار پھینکتا تھا کوئی پانی کھولتا انگار پھینکتا تھا کوئی پانی کھولتا عباس باوفا تیری بہنیں جدھر گئی اور انگار پھینکتا تھا کوئی پانی کھولتا انگار پھینکتا تھا کوئی پانی کھولتا عباس باوفا تیری بہنیں جدھر گئی عباس باوفا تیری بہنیں جدھر گئی زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئی
نعرہ حیدری
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all of you for coming. Today's majlis was organized by a number of youth groups: Al-Noor Youth, Joshua Youth, Lifetime Knowledge, Islam Education, and Imamiya Youth. For all of them and for all of the reciters today, we just salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Before I call our speaker, Brother Neil is going to speak to you all about volunteering, some opportunities you can get involved with. So please welcome him with another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone for inviting me down here today. I wanted to reach out to the youth of the community to talk to you about the benefits.
you hear me? I want to take the opportunity to talk to you about the benefits of volunteering. Some of the work that I do with Who's Hussein and IOS, I wanted to reach out to the youth to specifically talk to you about the benefits that it can help you with in your life and in your careers. So giving back to the community is amazing. It can increase your self-confidence. It can increase your self-esteem. If you're looking for careers, if you're in schools, in colleges, and you're looking to build those social interactions with people, volunteering your time, pushing yourself out into different teams can build many different aspects of your life. The ability to work within a team, the ability to develop your leadership skills. Potentially you'll be going on to college, university, and into employment, and these skills can carry you through. To be able to solve problems very quickly. As we know as volunteers, situations can change. Currently, we're delivering a food drive in central London. We're trying to serve 200 homeless people outside the Zimbabwe embassy. And those who are up with current affairs knows what's going on in Zimbabwe. There's a march going on where we're supposed to be setting up. So my team of people now are trying to find another location to serve the human beings that need food, warmth, and shelter. So that's just one example of problem solving where you've got to think quickly on your feet. And these volunteering opportunities help you to develop these skills. Communicating with others, different people, the elderly, people from care, people from emergency services, people that dedicate their time to help others, you'll be able to learn your communication skills to help the needy. Speaking to homeless people, what I do on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Sitting down on the streets talking to them. These skills will help you in life. It can provide you with a good understanding of what other people go through in and around your community. Not only that, it gives you a great sense of pride to help somebody, to dedicate some of your time. And time is so precious, right? Time is one of the most precious things. We all know when we've got to come back from school and you've got to do 3 hours, 2 hours of homework, and all you want to be doing is playing your PS4, 5, 6, whatever you're on at the moment. Why don't you take a few hours away from that and dedicate your time to help others? I'm not going to take too much of your time. I'm from Who is Hussein. We have brothers and sisters here from IUS, Islamic Unity Society. We'll be around at the end. Please come up to us. Please speak to us. We will help you to get involved. We will give you the opportunity to serve. Okay? Has anybody got any questions for me right now before we introduce the speaker? Yes, sir. You would know that. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Brother Noor, you speak to him if you have any questions, and Brother Muhammad over here, you talk to him as well if you want to talk to about who is saying and those things. Before I call our speaker, can you please read this Surah Fatiha for all Mahameen, especially for Madam Abdullah Ali and for Sage Noor to sit there. Up until now, I was calling our reciters based on what centre they're from, what they're representing. Alhamdulillah, all of the centres will claim the speaker today as their own. If you could welcome Brother Sheikh Shabba al-Mehdi wa Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
Before we start, if we can recite one salawat and come forward. second salawat. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتخبين المنتجبين الذين كلامهم نور وأمرهم رشد ووصيتهم التقوى وفعلهم الخير وعادتهم الإحسان وسجيتهم الكرم لا سيما على الإمام المنتظر والحجة الثاني عشر اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا نبي الله صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Several of the surahs and chapters of the 30th juz, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins those chapters by mentioning waw al-qasam, or the waw of oath. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ذَبْحًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used this waw of qasam and oath and takes oath of different things in Quran al-Kareem. In analysis of these first few verses of Surah Al-Shams, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes oath primarily by saying وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, by the sun and its brightness, وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, and by the moon as it follows the sun, وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا, and by the day as it manifests that light, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَخْشَاهَا, and Allah takes oath by the night as it covers the light that the sun gives. In analysis of these verses, the first question that really arises is of waw al-qasam, that ulama mention different ideas as to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to indicate and refer to when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes oath to a certain thing. So there were some scholars that said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, says wal asr or wal fajr wa layalin ashr and takes oath of these things, actually he means to say wa rabbil asr wa rabbil fajr wa rabbil shams. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes oath of the sun, he wasn't trying to say, I take oath of the sun. He was trying to say, I take oath of the Lord of that sun. In other words, taking oath of himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he says, wal asr, he doesn't take oath of time. He means, I take oath of the creator of time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was one idea. The other idea was, no. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes oath, for example, today, in my life, when do I take a qasam or oath? I take an oath when I wish to tell a person a certain thing. That person doesn't believe me. In order to convince them of that piece of information, I'll take a qasam. Many people, they say, for example, qasam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallah. Or they take an oath on themselves. When I take an oath in this world between people around me, I do it to convince that person of what I am saying. Some said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was doing the same. That he knew that the people of Makkah al-Mukarramah and Medina al-Munawwara wouldn't listen to what he says if he just said it like that. So instead, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took oath of the sun and the moon and the day and the night, and then he would mention that piece of information. So for example, he would say, wal asr, take oath of the time. What does he want to express to the people? Inna al-insana lafi khusr.
Or in this verse, or in this surah, when he says وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا and continues, what does he want to express? قَدْ أَفْلَهَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. So in the way that I would take an oath in order to convince a person of that piece of information, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likewise. This was also one idea. Other ulama said no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath. And there is a link between the oath and the jawab, and the answer to that oath. So there is a link between time and insan being in loss, and between الشمس والقمر, the sun and the moon, and the day and the night, and قد أفلح من زكاها. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes oath of these things, primarily it is for me and you to ponder over these realities, that the sun and the moon and the day and the night, Allah wishes the human being to ponder upon these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Not going too much into the detail of this wow of qasam and oath and what it denotes in Quran al-Kareem. Very simply, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes oath of the sun and its brightness. Here, when we look and analyze this verse, primarily when I read it, Allah is speaking about the sun, the moon, the day, the night, the earth, the heavens. However, when we go into something deeper, which is part of the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, that others didn't have, what we call ta'weel, we find that this has one deeper meaning. For example, if a person was to look at the riwayah of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa they will find it that yes, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا means the sun and its brightness. However, the Imam says one of the names of the Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alayhi wa alih, in Quran al-Kareem was وَالشَّمْس. That in the way that Allah speaks about the sun. But what type of sun? Dhuha. In Arabic, the sun has different stages. The sun can be just rising, can be setting, can be on its zenith, can be on its zawal. Al-Dhuha is after the sun has risen, and all of its rays has spread across that piece of land or that area. That is called Dhuha. So not any sun, the sun which has spread its light. The Imam says one of the names of the Prophet of Islam in Quran is the sun that has spread the light of guidance and hidayah and tawheed across all of this world. In analyzing this, before we can go to analyze it, when a person reads this verse, they don't see that the Prophet of Islam is mentioned. وَالشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَاللَّيْلِ. Where is it? How can you tell that the Prophet of Islam is actually the intended person in this verse? And that's what I said, we have what we call ta'weel. Ta'weel is where I'm able to extract the inner realities of certain verses that I wouldn't have known without this ta'weel. But it's not for everyone to do this ta'weel and extract these inner esoteric meanings and butun of Quran al-Kareem. Only the hand of an infallible can extract these pearls of ta'weel and understanding Quran al-Kareem. And so the infallibles told us. As we know, there were many schools today in Islam that didn't believe in this ta'weel. They said when Allah says وَالشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرِ etc., you take it in its apparent meaning. When Allah says وَالْعَصْرِ وَالْعَصْرِ وَالْفَجْرِ وَالْفَجْرِ, there's no inner meaning to this. The school of Ahlul Bayt said no. If Ahlul Bayt have told us of an inner meaning, we accept it. With regards to this, I remember a very famous incident of Ayatollah Muhsin Hakim rahmatullah alayh. That Ayatollah Muhsin Hakim, who was Marja A'la of his time, had gone to Baytullah for Hajj. When he went, the Saudi government was informed that at that time one of the greatest ulama and maraji of the Shia is coming, Sayyid Muhsin Hakim, and he had done his taqleed before Sayyid Khoury. When he had come to Makkah al-Mukarramah, Sayyid Muhsin Hakim, the Saudi government and officials had many meetings with him. Let's meet the head of the Shia, like he's our version of a mufti. Let's meet him, let's speak to him, let's have discussions. People have narrated and written down many of the anecdotes that took place, debates, discussions with Sayyid Muhsin Hakim and others. One of them, we are told that Sayyid Muhsin Hakim was meeting the Mufti of Saudi who is blind. And Sayyid Muhsin Hakim said, look, our Quran is one, our Hajj is one, we pray Salah 5 times, we have a fasting 30 days. Why do you bring out these differences amongst us? Quran al-Kareem, look at my Quran that I have with me in my pocket. It's the same as the Quran that you have with you in the Haram. So this Grand Mufti of Saudi, what does he say? He says, yes, Quran is one, we accept. However, when you use Quran, you do something that we would never do. This is what you do, what we call ta'weel. You go beyond the barriers of the apparent meaning into the inner, zahiri, batini understanding of Quran. We would never do this. So said Muhsin Hakim to explain to him how we have to rely on ta'weel. what Ahlul Bayt have told us of the inner meanings. This person was blind. Said Muhsin reads the verse, Man kana fi hadhihi a'ma fahuwa fil akhirati a'ma. Whoever will be blind in this world will be blind in the next. Now all of them started laughing. Why? Because if this person doesn't believe that verses of Quran have inner meanings, he has to accept that the fact that he is blind today means that when he goes into the akhirah, everyone can see the bounties of God, he'll be able to see nothing. So all of them began to laugh, and Sayyid Muhsin Hakim said, because you are blind, you have to accept that this doesn't mean whoever is physically blind in this world will be blind in the next. Rather, again, Ta'weel told us whoever was able, had money, had wealth, had time, had the resources to perform the Hajj of Baytullah and didn't do so is blind in this world and he'll be blind in the next. So this is an example where we have Ta'weel. Ta'weel, therefore, is when we go into the inner dimensions of these verses to understand the reality. And Ahlul Bayt were the ones that told us. That's why when we say, and you hear this every single year, inshallah, that one of the names of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, salamullahi alayha, is Laylatul Qadr, and the night of Qadr. Why? Laylatul Qadr, if you look in the tafsir of Inna Anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, one of the understandings is Laylatul Qadr, hiya Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Why? Because Laylatul Qadr, what happened? In Laylatul Qadr, Al-Quran was revealed onto the heart of the Prophet of Islam. In the same way, in the way that the Quran was revealed in Laylatul Qadr, the ta'weel of the Quran was revealed to Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. That her and her progeny were those who gave us these treasures of ta'weel of Quran, which is one of the reasons why she was called the Laylatul Qadr. That the Quran was revealed in Laylatul Qadr, ta'weel of Quran was given to Az-Zahra alayhi salam. Therefore, the sons of Zahra, like the Holy Six Imam Salamullah alayhi, tell us that when Allah says وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, He wasn't referring just to the physical sun, but He meant the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The question that then arises, why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would refer to the Prophet of Islam as washams, or the sun that is bright in the sky? And with this we can list at least 50 different reasons, at least, as to why he would be called the Shams. We won't list 50 today, or 2 or 3. Why he was called the sun and its brightness. For example, we are told, if you look in the history of Anbiya and Prophets, even if you look at the A'immah alayhimus salam, the sun was something either people in different civilizations would take as their God, they would respect and revere, they would center their lives around the sun, and so prophets of God, as well as A'imma, would use the sun that is in the sky to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for example, a person comes to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, Ya ibn Rasulullah, is it possible for me to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Can I see Allah? So the Imam says, look at the sun that is in the sky. The person says, I tried to look at the sun. As soon as I tried to look at the sun, my eyes had to go down. It's impossible for me to stare at the sun. I turned back to the Imam. I said, Ya Imam, it's not possible for me to look directly at the sun. The Imam says, if you can't look at the sun, which is a makhluk and a thing created, how could you then look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If it's impossible for you to see something which is created, how then can you even imagine that it is possible for you to see Allah and that Allah is physical? Ibrahim alayhi salam, we know as Quran mentions that he would say, I believe, Amanna, in the Shams, in the sun. And all of them would be looking at it. Then he would say, when the sun sets, but wait a minute, how can I believe in something which sets and isn't always present? And after it goes, there's darkness that covers the horizon. I can't believe in this. And they would say, yes, it makes sense. We were also believing in this sun as our God. We can't do so. So the Anbiya and A'imma would use this sun that is in the sky to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or hadith mentioned how they would say, if you accept that this sun is rotating and this and that and it has been created, who is the creator but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Throughout all of history, one of the roles of Ash-Shams fi sama was this. And this is one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls his messenger Ash-Shams. That in the way that this sun is one of the greatest indicators to the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. the Prophet of Islam is the greatest key to ma'rifah and wujood of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the way that we understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from his creation, the Prophet of Islam likewise. Also we understand that if you look in Sharia and Ahkam, for example Salah, my Salah is based around the movements of the sun. That when, for example, the sun is about to rise just before it, when the first few specks of light enter into the horizon, I have Salatul Fajr. And when the sun is from its zenith going down, what we call Zawal in Arabic, I have Dhuhr and Asr. And when what we call the sunset or Ghaybubatul Humra in Arabic or Istatarul Qurs, when I have the setting of the sun, this is when I have Maghrib and Isha. In the same way fasting, when the sun is in the sky, I'm mumsik, I'm fasting. When it sets, I can eat. In the same way in Hajj, there are certain ahkam which are followed by the way and the positioning of the sun. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, your ahkam and ibadah follows where the sun goes. The Prophet of Islam, wherever he goes, your ibadah and your sunnah follows the Prophet of Islam. I am dependent on the sun for my salah. I am dependent to look at where it is so that I know what I can do. Can I break my fast? Can I eat? Can I stop? Can I pray this salah or not? In the same way Allah was saying, you are fully dependent on seeing where is the Prophet of Islam. His sunnah is for you to follow. Sunnah, that's why in Arabic, the literal understanding, so if I had a larger container of water and I start to pour it, when I pour it, a line of water is formed. This in Arabic was called sun. That line of water that is formed when I begin to pour water. So because it was a straight line, the Arabs called sunnah sunnah, something straight which I can follow. Also sunnah came from what? A person is walking, the footsteps that are created behind that person as he walks on the sand or on the earth was called sunnah. And the Prophet of Islam, Allah said, whatever he does in the way that your ibadah follow the sun, wherever he does, whatever he tells you, you accept it. Your ibadah becomes what he does. As sunnah becomes what he does. And that's why this wilayah that he was given over the sharia, that one day he prays like this, it becomes mustahab. One day he does a certain thing, it becomes part of sharia. And that's why the hadith mentioned that in Masjid al-Nabawi once, one of the companions of the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is praying salah. As we know in jurisprudence, generally speaking, as-salah la tuqatta. Salah cannot be broken, except for in certain cases. Certain cases I can break my salah. But for no reason I can't just break the salah. This person is praying. The Prophet of Islam says, I called this companion towards me. Once he's praying his salah. This person, instead of going towards the Prophet of Islam, sped up his prayer. The Prophet of Islam says, I called him a second time. Again, he just speeds up his prayer. I called him a third time, he's still praying, he quickly finishes, he runs towards me. He says, Ya Rasulullah, yes. The Prophet of Islam says, why have you come to me now? He said, what do you mean? He said, I called you. He said, yes, but Ya Rasulullah, I was praying salah. You are the one that told us we can't break salah just like that for no reason. I was praying salah, I sped up my salah for you. The Prophet of Islam says, you remembered salah, you forgot the person that taught you and gave you this salah. Wherever the Prophet of Islam goes, my sharia will go that way. My ahkam will go that way, my sunnah goes that way. If the Prophet of Islam says, break your salah, I break it. In the way that if the sun is not yet the time of dhuhr, I can't pray dhuhr. I have to wait. I have to wait and see what is the sunnah and ahkam that the Prophet of Islam gave us. Also what we understand is look in the sky. You will find stars, you will find the moon, and you will find the sun. There are many other stars in the sky, but none of them have the radiance and the light of the sun. Nothing can be compared to the eminence of light that the sun gives. In other words, these other stars, there are other anbiya, there are other infallibles, but you cannot compare anyone to the Prophet of Islam. There's no comparison of that light to the light of the other stars and even the moon. The other anbiya are infallible, they are great in their status, but you cannot compare them to the Prophet of Islam. He is that sun. Everyone is aware of that light, and there is no comparison, nothing comes close to that radiance. And you find that in history, people would try to compare other prophets of God to the Prophet of Islam. They would come during his lifetime, they would come after his lifetime, and they'd bring certain objections. Let's say, look, Adam was given this, Noor was given this. You say that your prophet is the greatest. He is the sun in the sky who has the greatest of radiance. But no, we don't accept this. One of these people who try to compare other Anbiya, they are infallible, they are great. We aren't even the dust on the feet of a prophet of God. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تِلْكَ الرُّسُلْ فَضَّلْنَا. We gave certain prophets a greater status than others. So a person in Medina, he said, I came to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. I said, Ya Abul Hassan, you say that your prophet of God is the greatest of Anbiya. Says, no, he's not the greatest of Anbiya, he's the greatest of all creation. Not just the prophets of God. If this is the case, what do you say about Nuh alayhi salam? He says, what do you mean? He said, I looked at the life of Nuh and I saw something that your prophet wasn't given. He says, what? He says, Nuh does a dua and prays to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of this world is covered in rainwater. Did your prophet ever do a dua like this? So the Imam looks at him and says, there's a difference between the dua that Nuh had done and the dua that the Habib of Allah did. He said, what do you mean? He says, when Nuh does his dua for that rainwater to fall and cover all of this earth, does he do it out of mercy for the people or out of anger? Now everyone knows 950 years later, after doing tabligh and they reject, and this sign came and that sign came and they constantly rejected. After a very long time, 3 times this dua was delayed, and finally he does the dua out of anger that Ya Allah caused it to be a flood on this earth. Amir al-Mu'mineen says when Nuh did his dua for water, he did it out of anger. But look at the Habib of Allah. Says what? Says once the Prophet of Islam had entered into Medina. In Medina there were those that believed in him, there were those that hated him, there were those that were Muslimin, there were those that weren't. All types of people were in Medina. He had gone out somewhere, he entered back into Medina. They came to him, they said, Ya Rasulullah, it has been many days, not even one drop of water has fallen from the sky. Nuh had done a dua out of anger. The Habib of Allah does a dua out of mercy for all of the people in Medina for it to rain. Amir al-Mu'mineen says it rained so much that week that after 7 days they came running and said, Ya Rasulullah, tell Allah to stop it raining on the earth and land of Medina. So there's a difference between the dua of Nuh and the dua of the Prophet of Islam. He says, fine, I accept. But Musa alayhi salam has something your Prophet doesn't have. He says what? كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't speak to Musa alayhi salam through an angel or through a barrier or in a dream. He spoke to him directly in Mount Sinai. Whereas your Prophet, when he spoke to Allah, Allah would send Jibreel. Someone can ask you this question. Prophet of Islam, he has to go through Jibreel. Jibreel comes down. Whereas Musa alayhi salam, he speaks directly. The first thing we understand about this, there's a clear difference if a person looks. If a person looks at the lives of these prophets of God, there's a clear difference between the Prophet of Islam and Musa alayhi salam. What? That when Musa wants revelation, Musa has to go to Mount Sinai and get the revelation, whereas for the Prophet of Islam, revelation comes to his doorstep and asks permission to enter into his house. There's a difference. Musa has to go and get the revelation. Revelation would come to the Prophet of Islam. But also, what does Amir al-Mu'mineen say? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, yes, Musa spoke to Allah. But where did he speak to Allah? He said he spoke to Allah on Mount Sinai. Where is Mount Sinai? He says Mount Sinai is on this earth. Musa spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth, but the Habib of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke 110 times to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the arsh of Allah and Qaba Qawsayn or Adna, where no other person has been blessed and able to go. There's a difference. Musa had this munajat on this earth. The Prophet of Islam has a munajat at the closest station a person can reach. He says, fine, maqbool, I accept it. But one thing your Prophet doesn't have. He says what? He says Adam alayhi salam. إِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered all of the malaikah. All. Jibreel is there, Mikael is there, every single angel. Angel of death is in this. Some of these malaikah, all they would do is do sujood. In fact, in Nahj al-Balagha, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says it, that there are certain malaikah, they are so engrossed in the ibadah of Allah, They think that the only thing present is Allah. They don't know that there's any other creation. They don't know there's heaven, hell, me or you, nothing. All they know is Allah and their constant sujood. All of them were told to leave their ibadah and prostrate towards Adam alayhi salam. Did your Prophet get something like this? To put the answer to us aside for 1 minute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us different ahkam to follow. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ يَحْجُ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. Go to Hajj. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perform Hajj himself? So of course not. Allah tells me to do Hajj. He's not going to perform Hajj himself. Allah says, أَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. Pray Salah. Does he pray Salah himself? What type of question is that? He tells us to pray. Why does he need to pray Salah? It doesn't make sense. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Fast. Does he fast himself? Of course not. Out of all of the ahkam, Allah will tell me that hukam. He doesn't do any of them himself. There is only one hukam that Allah says, first I do it myself, then I tell the mu'mineen to do it. What? Amirul Mu'mineen says, when Allah wished to honor Adam alayhi salam, he told the angels to honor Adam by the sajda. But when Allah wished to honor the Prophet of Islam, he says, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu. First Allah sends the salutations, then the angels, then he says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. First, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself reveals the Prophet of Islam, then he tells the malaika. For Adam, only the malaika. So in the way that the sun today is the brightest and there is no comparison to the other stars and even the moon that is there, this is the status of the Prophet of Islam. Also we understand as to why Allah would say, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, is that a person is sleeping. Person on the weekend, especially the young people, they go to sleep, they may put many alarms, but they don't wake up. Their sleep is very deep. Eventually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed something that wakes up the human being. Let's say he has no alarm, he has nothing. He goes to sleep. Eventually, if there's no sounds, there's nothing else. There are a few rays of light that will enter into his house in the morning and will awake that human being. In other words, one of the roles of the sun is when a person is asleep to wake that person up. Allah says, this is the Prophet of Islam. When my soul is in the sleep of negligence, that which will wake up my soul is Rasulullah. When my soul has gone to sleep, as Amir al-Mu'mineen says, النَّاسُ نِيَامٌ إِذَا مَا تُنْتَهَبُ, the human being is asleep. That which will wake him up is الشَّمْسُ فِي السَّمَاء, the sun in the sky, which will wake up the soul of the human being. And if you read the life of the Prophet of Islam, a person cannot say that he follows this Rasul and Messenger without reading his biography from day of the birth till the death. If I don't know my Prophet, how can I follow him? If I don't know all of the details of his life, the struggles that he went through. If a person reads the books of Seerah and the life of the Prophet of Islam, they will read those reports of the beginning of the Ba'thah, when he announces his prophethood. When he announces his prophethood, Bihar al-Anwar al-Majlisi, rahmatullah alayhi, mentions one of these narrations. He says that the Prophet of Islam was on Safa, the mount. Quran al-Kareem says, إِنَّ السَّفَا وَالْمَرْوَةَ مِنْ شَعَائِرِ اللَّهِ فَمَنْ حَجَّ الْبَيْتَ أَوْ اعْتَمَرَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ أَنْ يَطَّوَّفَ بِهِمَا. Safa and Marwa are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the history that was there. They are part of the ahkam of Hajj. The Prophet of Islam says, I was standing on Safa. I mentioned the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my prophethood and the deen to all of the people in Makkah al-Mukarramah from that mountain, from the top. The narration says all of these Quraysh and Meccans at that time in Makkah al-Mukarramah and Medina, there's no paving or concrete or marble, there's pebbles. Certain places today you'll go in those areas near Mecca and Medina, there's pebbles there. When they saw the Prophet of Islam standing, preaching the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they took these pebbles and they began to pelt the body of the Prophet of Islam. He's there alone. The narration says he's covered with blood, he gets off Safa, he goes to Marwa. When he gets onto Marwa again, he does the same thing, he propagates the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and him himself as a Rasul. They reply in the same way. They take whatever they find, the pebbles, they pelt the Prophet of Islam, until the riwayah says he's covered in blood to such an extent that they would say, Mata Muhammadun sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah sallallahu until they would say the Prophet of Islam has died. So there are only a few people that they can go to who they know are close to the Prophet of Islam. They went into the city. They knocked onto the house of Lady Khadija and Amir al-Mu'mineen and said, look, this Rasul of yours, he's been pelted so much with stones, he's died. They said, we took some water with us, we had a few loaves of bread, and we went towards these two mountains. And we were calling out, Ya Rasul, Ya Rasul, Ya Rasul, to find where he is, until we saw him in a state that not even one part of his body was not covered in blood. Prophet of Islam. We got to him. With this water we used to try and mend his wounds. We gave him something to eat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the malaika down. The angels of the earth and the land were there. The angels of the sky all had come down at that moment in time. They said, Ya Rasulullah, Allah has given you the reins of this universe in your hands, in your control. If you want, we will do something. Either the malaika of the angels of the heavens or the earth will do something now, and all of them will perish. It will cause an earthquake, landslide, this mountain will fall, something. If you accept out of what they have done to you for spreading this risala, Allah is ready. Prophet of Islam says, I told those angels, descend back to where you came from. Then he looks to the sky and he mentions these lines which are eternal of the Prophet of Islam. He looks to the sky, he says, Allahumma hdi qawmi. Ya Allah, guide my nation, فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Because they are unaware of the realities. They are jahil. When the reins of this universe are in your hands and you can do whatever you please with your enemies, when you do a dua to Allah, Ya Allah, forgive them and guide them, that's when a person becomes ashraful makhluqat, the best of all creation that I have, and it's a right for me to punish those people for attacking me. But instead he says, Ya Allah, tell the angels I don't wish to take any revenge. Ya Allah, rather I do a dua and supplication for them, guide them, فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. They are unaware, they are jahil. Ya Allah, guide them towards this path. The Prophet of Islam, that sun, when a person is asleep, he is awoken by the rays of the sun. This was the light of the Prophet of Islam. This was the light of Rasulullah. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam then says, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, then he says, وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, and the moon that follows the sun. Why? Because once the sun sets, what is left in the sky to give light? In the darkness, the moon. As-Sadiq alayhi salam says, if Ash-Shams is the Prophet of Islam, Al-Qamar is who? Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Allah that the moon follows directly after the sun. In all of its light, it takes its light from the sun. He took his knowledge from the Prophet of Islam. He followed as soon as that sun of Risala set and spread darkness across the horizons of Islam. That which gave radiance and light to the mu'mineen was the sun that was Amir. Then he says, وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا. And the day as it spreads and illuminates that light. The Imam says, and this day is what? This day is none other than the sons of the Imam alayhim salam, especially Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Why? Ya Ali. Sallu ala Muhammad. Why? Because the daytime is an expression and a direct effect of the sun. The Imam alayhi salam are the direct effects of the Prophet. Especially Sahib al-Zaman. The sun sets. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَخْشَى. And the darkness of the night, as it covers the Imam says, the darkness of the night, are those people that hukuma of Islam unlawfully after the sun had set. In other words, the enemies of Islam were disturbed. Why? Today, when the sun sets and it's nighttime, it becomes easier for crime to take place when there's darkness. It's much more difficult to identify a person in the darkness. And it becomes easy for the thieves to enter into someone's house in the darkness. A thief can enter. When the sun of Risala and there was darkness in Islam, it became easy for them to enter the house of Allah. dark deceives do their work. This darkness, Zahra alayhi salam beautifully mentioned, الواثبين بظلم آل ومحمد ملقا بلا تكفيني. We haven't even given ghusl and coffin to the Prophet of Islam. But these were the oppressors that dark night would spread this dhulm across the horizons of humanity of Islam. That they would enter into this Sahara. Today, yesterday, these days of the lives of the Prophet of Islam, when the poison in his body, to some riwayat, the poison of Khaybar, other riwayat, the poison that he was given, closer to his departure, this poison is seeping through his blood. The Prophet of Islam can feel the effects of this poison. He's on his deathbed. The history mentions that the Ahlul Bayt would be constantly next to the Prophet of Islam. But history says that there was one person who would be closest to the Prophet of Islam in all moments. Amirul Mu'mineen? No. Hassan and Hussein? No. Person knows in this world when there's a father, the daughter is very close to that father. The person closest to Rasulullah during these last moments was Zahra. Would be constantly next to her father, seeing the state in which her father. The poet says, الواثبين لنيل ظلم محمد ومحمد ملقى على تكفيني حضرا على البيت الذي لم يجتمع شمل الدين والداخل على البتولة بيتها والمسقطين لها أجل جنيني ما كان ناقة صالح وفسيلها بالفضل عند الله دوني رسول الله بدوا أمير المؤمنين انتزل عن زهراء حسن الحسين ودمت بكى رسول الله. The Prophet of Islam would begin to cry and weep. أمير المؤمنين says, يا رسول الله يا وابسي nobody happy. Why today are you sad and grieving? He said, يا علي, because when I saw you I remembered the strike that would come on your head. And when I saw Zahra I remembered the broken rains. And when I saw Hassan I remembered the poison. Then the riwayah says, and when I saw Hussein, and then the Prophet of Islam wouldn't say anything further, because I can describe what happened to al-Mu'mineen Zahra Hassan. But how can anyone describe what happened to Abu Abdullah Hussein? Rasulullah on his deathbed then would say, Ya Fatima udnini. Zahra would come to the Prophet of Islam, placing her ear next to his lips. Then the riwayah says, she would smile, then she would begin to cry. When she was asked, she says, Amma tabassumi, as for me smiling, it is because Rasulullah told me I am the first of Ahlul Bayt to join him. And as for my crying, it's because he told me, هذه الليلة يا زهرة, this is the night that I will leave this world. Then Rasulullah says, يا علي يا أبا الحسن أذن مني. أمير المؤمنين comes close to the lips of Rasulullah when you listen to the wasi of Rasulullah. Rasulullah says, يا علي, after I take care of my amana, Fatima Zahra, Take care of Fatima, die this world, وإذا بباب قطرت, someone then knocks on the door. Zahra says, I went to the door. I said, Man it who is the person who is knocking? The person says, I am a gharib coming from my far land, wishing to meet Rasulullah. Zahra says, come another time, this isn't a good time. وإذا تقبل بايا مرة ثانية, second time the person of Zahra says, this isn't a time to enter. When he knocks a third time, Rasulullah would say, Zahra, this is مفرج الجمعات, هذا ملك الموت. The angel of death يستأذن منك ومنا. The angel of death wishes to gain permission to enter into this house, because Zahra is in this house, and Ali is in this house, and Rasul is in this house. Malakul Maut gets the permission to enter. I say, Ya Rasulullah, before you die, even Malakul Maut asks permission to enter this house. But after you die, سأغرق الباب, سأغرق الدار ومن فيها. I will set this house and whoever is in this house on fire. Someone said فيها حسن وحسين. He said even if Hassan and Hussein are in this house, then someone said فيها فاطمة الزهراء. In this house is Fatima Zahra. He said وإن even them I will enter. And that's why Zahra would say ماذا على لا يشوم مدى الزمان غواليا. سوف جعل صاحب سوف جعل الأيام سمنا لياليا. من كل مؤسس ينتهي جبرائيل لا يمين رسول الله وميكائيل لا يساره. Jibreel was on the right of the Prophet, Mikael was on the left. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I was next to the chest of Rasulullah, when suddenly the he took out the soul of the Prophet of Islam. Zahra wa Abada wa Muhammada. But I say, Ya Rasulullah, after they took your soul, you were given Hussein, you were given Kafan, and Hussein was seen how someone is treated after they die. ولكن يوم العاشر من المحرم زينب Hussein was in the center of Karbala. Umar bin Sam says, I told who was of the west of Karbala, go to the east and cover the body of Hussein. Then Zainab said someone would take his imam and someone else would take his clothing, until one person would come to take the ring from his finger. Zainab says they would try to pull this ring until the ring wouldn't any further. Zainab says they took out the dagger and got the fingers of the son of Rasulullah. هذا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك دعوات إنك رافع الدرجات إنك سامع الأصوات، إنك رافع الدرجات إنك على كل شيء قدير. يا حسين
Say, حسين لبيك يا
حسین یا 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 حسین اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like حسینیوں یہ تم پہ ہو گیا لازم جو تم حسینی ہو اگر حسین تو صورت علی علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein Allah loves all who have love for Muhammad in their heart. He is the city of knowledge, Ali is pure and God. Hussein and Prophet Muhammad can never be apart, because this is what Muhammad has said from the start. Hussein ya Hussein minni wa ana min al-Hussein Hussein اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein حسینیوں یہ تمہیں کربلا بتاتی ہے جو قوم اپنے شہیدوں کو بھول جاتی ہے قدم قدم پہ اجل سے فریب کھاتی ہے پھر ایسی قوم کی قسمت میں بے ثباتی ہے حسینیوں کرو جو پیروی توہر کی پیروی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein by sacrificing his companions and his family Hussein has showed us how to live our lives and how to be to give whatever we have in Allah's name and we'll see there's not a thing in this whole universe we can't achieve Husseiniyo to live our lives in the way of Allah should be our goal Ajal Hussein ki surat jiyo Ali ki tarah Ajal Hussein ki surat jiyo Ali ki tarah live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali کوئی حسینی کبھی موت سے نہیں ڈرتا علی کا نام کبھی بے سکون نہیں کرتا علی کے منہ سے کو جو زخم ہے نہیں بھرتا علی کا ماننے والا کبھی نہیں مرتا حسینیوں جو ان پہ مرتا ہے وہ ہے شہید کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein for life and death they are the guidance and philosophy the sacrifice of Hussein and the way of life of Ali you only need to look at the final sujood of each This is the art of life and death we should try to achieve حسينيو These were the words of Ali Mustafa برب الكعبة أجل حسين کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح أجل حسين کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein علی کے بچوں کو جو موت سے ڈراتا ہے وہ اپنے فکر نجس سے فریب کھاتا ہے علی کی راہ سے جو بھی قدم ہٹاتا ہے نبی کا بیٹا بھی طوفان میں ڈوب جاتا ہے حسینیوں نبی کے بیٹے اگر وہ رہو نبی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح اجل حسین کی صورت جیو علی کی طرح live like Ali die like Hussein live like Ali die like Hussein Ya Hussein میرا شہر والا اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا زخم دل کے دکھاؤں میں کیسے زخم دل کے دکھاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر لاش اکبر کے شاہ جب پہنچے دل کو ہاتھوں سے تھام کر بولے تیری فرقت میں علی اکبر آگ دل میں میرے لگا دی ہے آگ دل کی بجھاؤں میں کیسے آگ دل کی بجھاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر تو ہے کڑیل جوان ہے بیٹا باپ تیرا ضعیف ہے کتنا نور آنکھوں کا ہو گیا رخصت مجھ کو آتا نہیں نظر خیموں میں جاؤں میں کیسے خیموں میں جاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر جس نے 18 سال پالا تھا کیسے دیکھے کہ وہ تیرا لاشا تیری شادی کا تھا جسے ارمان کیسے جھیلے کہ وہ تیرا صدمہ تیری ماں کو بتاؤں میں کیسے تیری ماں کو بتاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر 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 سب غم کا محال ہے بیٹا دیکھو کیسے حساب سینے کا میں تو پردیس میں اکیلا ہوں دیکھ ورنہ کیا کروں بتلا اس کے مرہم لگاؤں میں کیسے اس کے مرہم لگاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر 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 ایسی غربت میں منہ نہیں موڑو میں ہوں تنہا مجھے نہ یوں چھوڑو کیا گزرتی ہے باپ کے دل پر غمزدہ دل کو یوں نہیں توڑو اپنی غربت بتاؤ میں کیسے اپنی غربت بتاؤ میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا شہر والا اکبر اکبر میرا شہر والا یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین حسين يا حسين يا حسين مولا حق امام يا حسن يا حسين مولا حق امام يا حسن يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين وہ عابد بیمار تھا وہ عابد بیمار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جو شاکے پلی سینے پہ جو شاکے پلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جو شاکے پلی سینے پہ جو شاکے پلی جس کی آبا بننے گلی جس کی آبا بننے چلی مقدمہ جو کہ شاہ مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین وہ باوفا واسطہ وہ باوفا واسطہ پیاسے کی جو ایک راستہ پیاسے کی جو ایک راستہ پانی ملا جو نہ پیا پانی ملا جو نہ پیا معصوم کا احساس تھا مولا حق امام یا حسین یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین وہ باوفا واسطہ وہ باوفا واسطہ پیاسوں کی جو ایک راستہ پیاسوں کی جو ایک راستہ پانی ملا پر نہ پیا پانی ملا پر نہ پیا معصوم کا احساس تھا مولا حق امام یا حسین یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین وہ زینب و کلثوم تھی وہ زینب و کلثوم تھی چادر سے جو محروم تھی چادر سے جو محروم تھی نامحرموں کے درمیان نامحرموں کے درمیان وہ قضا کی بیٹیاں مولا حق امام یا حسین یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسین 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد المرسلين السلام عليك